Hello everyone, my name is Helen Ellis and I'm an author, researcher. I come from New Zealand and I am not an expat or a migrant. But my connection to your world is that I have been a distance parent for many years and a distance grandparent. And the topic of distance families has become for me my life's work for the next season of my life. I have done some studies at university, done my thesis on distance grandparenting, and I'm now writing a 3-book series about how it is for each generation of distance families. The FIGT topic for January is generations. So seeing the subtitle on all my books is a book for all generations, I kind of felt I had to put my hand up. So today I want to share with you just some simple concepts that highlight the fact that we all don't quite understand how it is for the other, and maybe it's a good idea to learn how it is, and also talk about how the pandemic has affected this. First of all, when I talk to distance parents and distance grandparents, and I say to them that the strongest emotion that you feel as the away middle generation is the guilt of the left behind family, often they look at me quite amazed. They honestly don't know that. And I feel I'm really doing a great job for you spreading that word, because they reflect and they start to see their relationship with you in a slightly different light. And that's great. Flipping the story, in a reverse situation, when I tell the likes of yourselves, distant sons and daughters, that when I plan my day, I try and ensure, if I can, to be home in the morning. I don't go to the supermarket in the morning. I don't go to the hairdresser in the morning. If I can have some home time, it's in the morning. And why is that? Because my family in the States and the UK are up at that time. And if there's going to be any random unplanned for phone calls, that's when they occur. So there's no way I want to be sitting in my car or distracted somewhere else. So if I can possibly stay home, I do. You probably think that's crazy. Here I am in New Zealand working my day-to-day routine around the time zones in America and England. But heck, what have I got to lose? Absolutely nothing. I don't want to discourage my family from just picking up the phone and trying and seeing if it's convenient to talk. So these are the sorts of things that we actually don't understand about each other, which once you do understand, you go, wow, I hadn't thought about that. Latterly, with the pandemic, I've noticed a new disconnect. And I'm especially aware of it here in New Zealand and also with our neighbours in Australia across the Tasman. Our two countries, as we're way down the bottom of the world in the down under, our governments have taken policies of locking us away, trying to have the elimination policy, and in different ways we've done not too bad along the way. But the price of that is that our children, or very few of them, have been able to come home. They've missed funerals, they've missed sick relatives, and they've just missed a hug, including myself. I have not seen my family for 3 years. But what I've noticed is that there are two sets of thinking here. Our children, our distant sons and daughters, when you made the move that you made, one of the thoughts in the back of your mind was, I'm only 24 hours away from home. So if you needed to come home, somehow you would make it happen. And COVID, especially for New Zealanders and Australians, and I know many other countries, stop that. That freedom was denied to you. And that has had huge ramifications. But back home, when it was presented to the distant parents and grandparents and the rest of the nation that it would be a good idea to close the doors for a while and lock us away and try and keep the pandemic at bay, it seemed like a good idea. And it has been for a period of time. So here we have a situation with distant families and the different generations experiencing the pandemic in completely different ways. I was very accepting, for quite some time that my family couldn't visit and I couldn't visit them. But in the meantime, our children have not been quite the same. And for many distant sons and daughters, their relationship with their home country, whether it's Australia or New Zealand or wherever, has changed. Some of them have fallen out of love with the country, which is really, really sad. So what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that it's good to be aware that each generation's thoughts and attitudes and opinions have their value to them. Sometimes I've spoken to distant parents and grandparents here, and I've explained to them how it's been for the likes of their children and other New Zealanders, say, stuck overseas, and they really don't quite get it. Because from their perspective, you've left and they've grieved that and you've gone, and I have to explain to them how much you have suffered and how being the freedom to come home was so important to you. So my message to you today is that distance familying is complicated. We all have different ways of thinking, and it's important to honour those different ways of thinking, whether it's the vaxxed and the non-vaxxed, and all those other confrontational topics that are around these days. Respect and honour that person's opinion, even if you don't agree with it, because it's come from a place of what they're currently living through. It doesn't mean they can't change, and it doesn't mean you can't change, but I guess there's a good reason to just be kind with this whole process. So make it a point to want to learn how it is for the other generations in your family. Be intentional about it, and at this time when we're all challenged, just be open to the fact that others may not quite see things as you do, but they are entitled to feel how they are based on the experiences that they've had. Thank you for listening, and I wish you well for 2022 with all your distance familying. Take care. Bye.